They were flying above the clouds. 30,000 feet of pure sky beneath their wings. A calm, steady hum filled the cabin. Everything felt normal. Until it didn't. If you're new here and drawn to these unexplained events, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and activate the notification bell. You never know what secrets we'll uncover next. The aircraft had been in the air for just under 3 hours. It was on schedule, weather conditions were stable, and no warnings had been issued. Pilots communicated regularly with ground control, reporting nothing out of the ordinary. On board, passengers were relaxed. Some watching movies, some dozing off, others sipping coffee and chatting quietly. Then, a shadow passed. Not a literal one. But something shifted. Subtle at first. The plane slightly changed altitude. The radio crackled with faint interference. The flight crew noted it, but didn't sound concerned. One of them laughed over the radio, calling it just the sky playing tricks. But the sky doesn't usually erase planes. At exactly 3:28 p.m., radar showed the plane cruising steadily. At 3:29, the dot on the screen blinked once. Then disappeared. No descent. No sharp turn. No warning. Just gone. Air traffic controllers stared at their screens in silence, expecting the signal to return. Planes don't just vanish. Equipment fails. Signals bounce. But this one didn't come back. They contacted nearby aircraft. No one had seen anything. No one had heard anything. It was as if the plane had slipped through a crack in the atmosphere. Within minutes, a communication protocol was initiated. Ground stations attempted to make direct contact. No answer. They pinged the aircraft's transponder. No response. They even sent out emergency frequencies. Nothing. Panic doesn't arrive all at once. It creeps. First in the pit of the stomach. Then up the spine. At 3:37 p.m., the flight was officially declared missing. Search and rescue teams were launched immediately. The disappearance had occurred over open airspace, not over the ocean, not in a war zone, not in a remote mountain range. This was supposed to be safe air. Normal air. Controlled and monitored. But the skies had other plans. Helicopters and planes were dispatched to the last known coordinates. Nothing was there. No smoke. No trail. No floating debris. Just clouds. Thin, bright clouds, too calm for tragedy. News of the vanishing broke fast. Within hours, it was all over global networks. A commercial flight with over 100 souls had disappeared in daylight, in modern times, with every possible system active, and left not a single clue. Families rushed to airports, desperate for answers, holding on to hope, waiting for survivors. But there were none to wait for. At least, not yet. Officials released statements urging calm. They promised updates, promised transparency. But within days, something changed. Details stopped flowing. Press conferences grew shorter. Data became restricted. Independent aviation analysts began digging, and what they found raised eyebrows. The last recorded altitude and speed suggested a sudden dip, just before the radar went dark. Not a crash. More like a pull. As if something massive had exerted force from below, or above. Then, rumors began. A technician leaked that military satellites had briefly tracked an unknown object near the plane just before it vanished. Fast-moving. Silent. Unmarked. Within seconds, the object and the plane disappeared from all systems. Coincidence? Or something more? We'll continue exploring that next. But for now, if this mystery pulls at your curiosity, give this video a like and let us know in the comments what you believe could cause a plane to vanish from clear skies. Subscribe and stay close. What's coming next will send shivers through the air itself. The investigation moved quickly, at least on the surface. The media received reports of expanded search areas, international collaboration, and advanced technology being deployed. But behind closed doors, tension grew. Because nothing was adding up. The aircraft's black box had a locator beacon, one that was designed to survive catastrophic impacts and emit a signal for weeks. But no ping was ever received. Not even a weak one. It was as if the black box wasn't there, or had been taken. Midway through the second week, a new piece of information leaked from an air traffic insider. He claimed the plane had briefly reappeared, just for a split second, on a classified military radar system more than 400 miles from its last known position. No civilian flight could have traveled that fast. Not without exceeding every known limit. Not without burning out. Officials denied the claim. But denial doesn't erase doubt. By the third week, official statements grew more vague. Technical malfunction. Possible weather interference. And the classic fallback, we may never know. But outside the official narrative, theories were spiraling. One investigator suggested the plane had entered what he called a high-frequency dead zone, an area of the atmosphere that can't transmit or receive signals under rare electromagnetic conditions. He backed his claim with satellite data showing a pulse, an invisible burst, right before the disappearance. It was brief. It was intense. And it was unexplained. Others weren't convinced. Some turned their attention to the passengers. Among them were two scientists with clearance to work on classified aerospace projects. They had been traveling under aliases. Why? No one could say. And when a journalist tried to investigate further, their access was suddenly revoked. Their name disappeared from records. The scientists' families refused to comment. Or couldn't. Then came the footage. A fisherman on a long-range vessel had been testing a drone camera that day, scanning the horizon for schools of fish. By pure coincidence, or fate, the drone was flying in the general direction of the plane's last known altitude. What it captured wasn't crystal clear, but it wasn't normal either. A ripple in the clouds. Not wind. Not turbulence. A visible distortion, almost like heat rising off asphalt, but massive, widening, then closing in on itself. And in the center of that ripple, A flash. Quick. Silent. And then, nothing. The footage was passed around forums and independent researchers. Some said it was fake. Others, enhanced. But a few, those who had worked in aviation for decades, believed it might be real. And if it was, it meant the plane didn't crash. It shifted. Shifted where? Some said a wormhole. Others, a tear in space-time. A few believed it was a weapons test gone wrong, an invisible cage that the aircraft flew into at precisely the wrong moment. The more the public asked, the less they were told. And still, the families waited. They gathered online, forming groups, comparing notes. Some shared strange dreams of planes flying silently above black oceans. Others reported receiving emails from addresses linked to their missing relatives, empty messages, no subject, no content. Just presence. Was it a coincidence? A cruel joke? Or something trying to reach back from wherever they had gone? If you've made it this far, like the video to let us know you're still with us, and still questioning. Comment below what you believe could cause a plane to reappear, hundreds of miles away, for just 1 second. And subscribe with notifications on, because what comes next may finally bring us closer to the truth. Weeks turned into months. And the sky kept its secrets. The official search was called off. Families were given compensation packages. Press coverage faded. The incident was labeled a catastrophic in-flight event. An acceptable explanation for an unacceptable mystery. But behind the veil of closure, too many pieces remained unresolved. Private investigators didn't stop. Independent pilots, engineers, and researchers began forming their own network, sharing theories, leaked data, strange coincidences. Some found disturbing patterns. Over the last 15 years, a small number of commercial aircraft had gone off radar in nearly identical conditions: cruising altitude, stable weather, no distress signal. And in each case, the same region of sky showed up in the logs, within a wide arc stretching across the upper atmosphere. Some began calling it the high silence zone. But the strangest pattern was yet to come. Aviation tech forums began receiving anonymous tips, logs, time-stamped data, audio clips that had never been released publicly. One clip was chilling. A short transmission, garbled, frantic, from the missing plane's cockpit. Just a few seconds of audio. A voice screaming, "They're pulling us. It's not sky, it's something else." Then static. No source could be confirmed. No one claimed responsibility. But the voice, many believed, was real. Meanwhile, a former satellite operator came forward. He claimed that on the night of the disappearance, a high-orbit surveillance satellite had captured an unexplained atmospheric event in that same area, a flash of light, in a perfect geometric shape. A hexagon. Symmetrical. Brilliant. And then gone. The data was scrubbed from official archives within hours. Some theorized a secret experiment in atmospheric energy. Others suspected advanced technology, human or not. A few whispered about a sky-based anomaly that opens only under rare conditions, and takes. No one could say for sure. But one theory became the most disturbing of all. Not that the plane had crashed. Not that it had been destroyed. But that it had shifted timelines. A physicist, long dismissed by his peers, had proposed that under specific conditions of energy, speed, and magnetic distortion, a vessel could slip through the edge of our current dimensional frequency. Not disappear. Not die. Just cease to exist in this version of reality. It wouldn't leave wreckage, or signals, or survivors, because it would no longer be here. A chilling idea. Because if true, it means the passengers might still be alive, just somewhere else. Living in a loop. Frozen in time. Or continuing a journey that we can no longer witness. And if that's possible, what does it say about our skies? How many other disappearances weren't accidents, but transfers? Is the sky not just a ceiling, but a gate? We may never know. But if these mysteries stir something in you, if the thought of hidden skies, lost passengers, and invisible doors unsettles you the way it does us, then like this video and share your theory in the comments. What do you think truly happened at 30,000 feet? Don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell, because the story isn't over. In our next video, we'll replay the haunting final transmission of a pilot, his last words recorded just moments before silence. Words filled with fear. Words that were never meant to be heard. Stay with us.